Welcome to the Grandstand Golf Podcast. This is the weekend golf update for the American Express, the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship, and the Diamond Resorts LPGA Tournament of Champions. I'm your host, Adam Baptini. I'm always joined by my brothers, Craig.
Hey guys, how we doing?
And Kevin.
What's up, everybody?
So, guys, first off, the American Express, where Siwoo Kim took home the win over the charging Patrick Cantlay. We'll get to it in a minute, but it seemed pretty obvious to me that Siwoo was going to take the win. What went wrong with you two? Kevin, let's hear it.
Yeah, well, Adam, you had him as your one and done pick, and I got to commend you for a fantastic pick. My pick didn't even make the cut, so you had me no matter what going into the weekend, and I figured this win's just gravy. He played fantastic. 8 under on Sunday. Did what he had to do with Cantlay, posting early. The putt on 17 was huge to go one up, and then he played 18 flawlessly. So great performance by him. It's good to see him back in the winner's circle.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Craig?
Yeah, first off, on the one and done front, I thought Abe Answer was going to give it a run, and then he just stumbled on Saturday. He came back and he went low today to get himself a top 5. Make some money for me. Yeah. But as far as Siwoo, somewhere around the turn, I want to say it was maybe 10 where Finau made that birdie. I thought it was going to be Finau and Siwoo Kim who were really out front. I think there's 4 of them at that point who were sort of a couple strokes ahead of everyone else. And I thought it was going to be Finau and Kim up to the finish. But then, Finau put it in the water. I forget what hole that was, but the par 5 on 11, his second shot.
Yeah.
And then he never really had signs of life afterwards, and Cantlay just kept posting, Cantlay just kept making birdies.
Well, it's such a weird course because guys were going super low, and obviously you wanted the more holes remaining, the kind of better chance you had. So you were thinking, okay, it's coming from the final group. It's going to be Siwoo. It's going to be Finau. And big numbers were out there, but I can't believe how low Cantlay went.
Yeah, but then the other thing with Cantlay posting, we had spoken on our Showdown show going into Sunday that it looked like there might be wind that really was going to hit the last groups the hardest. So at that point, I was like, man, could they, 16 with the huge, the San Andreas Fault running through it, 17 with that tiny little green, the wind picks up on those and it can just be killer. But Siwoo, I think there was a bit of wind at that point, but he handled it well. He made birdie on the par 5, made a huge birdie putt there on 17, and I think his interview showed a bit more nerves than it looked like he was showing out on the course.
Actually, I missed the interview at the end. It was dinner time in my household. I had golf on for them. I think I maxed it out.
Yeah, so that happens over here sometimes too. You got to rush away.
It wasn't too in depth, but he was just saying, hard to sleep on the lead. He didn't get much sleep. He's a English as a second language person, so he's not exactly eloquent in expressing himself, but you could tell that he was nervous and he wanted the win badly. He had a bit of a the 3-year slump narrative going for him.
Yeah. Look at the fist pump on 17, right? You could tell it was he wanted it. Mm-hmm. I like the emotion there.
And his next 2, after that putt, the next 2 ball strikes, right down the middle with the 3-wood off the tee on 18, and then that 9-iron-ish, something like that, into the green, just super rock solid. Pretty easy 2-putt after that.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if I'm getting this right, but it kind of reminded me of Payne Stewart. He had that famous, he kind of stepped and then punch as the fist bump. It wasn't typical, he kind of did a punch.
I want to say U.S. Open, maybe?
Yeah, that was
PGA Open, U.S. Open.
See, I'm surprised to hear that with the interview because he, I was super nervous with Siwoo. I backed him. He was my pick. I kind of planted my flag. Not necessarily the best reputation for putting. And he had all these 4 or 5 footers to kind of clean up his birdies. He was hitting the ball really well, but it did not seem like nerves were at all part of the story for him coming down the stretch with hard holes, with sand, with water. Any of it.
So I'd just like to pivot for a second back to Cantlay. So this is the tournament that David Duval famously shot a 59 to win. 59 on Sunday to win. So Cantlay today shot a 61.
Yeah.
Of course, if he had shot a 59, he would have beat Siwoo by 1. Now, I mean, you're thinking, what? The guy shot 61. Like, what do you want from him? Well, on his
59.
back, yeah,
Clearly,
he shot a 30 front, and on his back 9, he had 5 birdies, and two of the holes, 12 and 14. On 12, he had an 11-foot birdie putt, and on 14, he had a 5-foot birdie putt. So and both those he just burned the lip. This easily could have been a historic 59 for Cantlay. He played incredible. It seemed like when I was watching him that, I mean, he couldn't miss. He was putting it exactly where he had to put it on every hole.
Well, the other thing to think back to is, he was posting. He made the cut on the number, and he posted on Saturday, but he posted, I want to say 7 under, while he put one out of bounds on his 17th hole, which was the 8th hole. So he doesn't hit that one out of bounds, and that's his
true.
2
That was into
strokes.
the hole.
Yeah.
And he did it Saturday, Sunday, no eagle. So it's just like the amount of birdies he got.
Birdies.
But I do think that David Duval was on a different course. I think Cantlay beat Answers 63, I want to say, for the course.
Answer was 62 last year.
62? So, I mean, yeah. I guess a 59, quote unquote, was out there, but I don't know if there's many 59s ever in that course.
Anyway, I'm more just, it was an incredible round he played today, and it almost felt like 61 was as high as he could have shot, as crazy as that sounds.
And the putts that he was making were like these downhill, had to start outside the cup.
Yeah, he just played so rock solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're, in terms of, okay, so projecting forward, I think we're going to see, or I hope we see Cantlay in some of the big tournaments we have this year. I hope this is like a bit of a momentum builder because, he won the Zozo. That was before the Masters. He played decently. I want to say he was top 20, but never really in contention at the Masters. But he's someone who he needs to hang a major win up there.
I mean, he's my boy. He's my boy.
I know he's your boy. Clearly he's your boy. Because the one time I pick him in one and done, he decides to take Sunday off because he's your boy.
He pulls through for me all the time.
So with this 59 narrative, Kevin, are you trying to maintain that Cantlay's a choker? Are you saying I'm not going out there?
Listen, that is a complete misrepresentation. What I said, because it was at the Shriners, I picked him for one and done. He was in the final group, and he didn't have a good Sunday. What I said was that these are the ones that you expect a guy like Cantlay to at least push the lead, if not win. And he fell back that day, and this is exactly what we've grown to expect from him. He's that good that he can go. I think
it does show though. The score you put up, it does show how hard it is to lead. Hold it. I think it's so much easier to charge than it is to lead.
So, okay, talking about holding a lead and our boys. Yeah. The next guy I think we need to talk to, we touched on him, Tony Finau.
I was setting up the segue.
That's a great segue. Started out, two birdies in this first 2. Kevin, I mean, your boy.
I know. My boy, he was in the driver's seat there, minus 17.
So this is Tony Finau, if anyone is not clear who we're talking about.
Yeah, Tony Finau. He was minus 17 when Homa and Siwoo were both still sitting at minus 15.
Right.
It looked like it was his to go out and get, and he just didn't. He made one more birdie, I think, on the front. He missed a short birdie putt somewhere along the way there. And then you were saying he hit it in the water on the par 5 there. Well, he still had a 3-footer. He
still had a chance
for par, which wasn't, it's not the result he's looking for on that hole, but that keeps him in the contest. By making a bogey there, I think that dropped him 3 back of Siwoo at the time.
But then he also bogeyed 14. He bogeyed with 14. A sloppy little failed to get up and down.
It was just another disappointing Sunday for Tony. You think the law of averages will have him grab one of these things, but it just hasn't been working out for him. I mean, he's still a boy.
He shot 68. It's not like he blew up, but no. I think you had to think with how packed it was, both at 15 with the three of them, but then with all the people too who were within a couple strokes of the lead, you kind of felt you had to go out there and post something in the 20s to win this.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, I know,
it never really felt like 68 for Finau was going to take it down today.
No, and I know on your guys' live show last night you were talking about 21 being the number you thought might take it, and I was inclined to agree with that. These guys took it a little bit deeper, but I don't think 19 was ever going to be enough. Mm-hmm. Really, there's too many guys too close to that lead that someone was gonna take it deep.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like I keep hearing even from the announcers now that like Tony has this on his mind that he's not a closer. This label has been put on him. I mean, what do you guys think? Is it fair or is it unfair at this? Like, it's really, really effing hard to win on the PGA Tour, and he is constantly in top 10s or top 5s, but he doesn't have it's kind of a weird situation he's in because he's super talented, and that's the reason people are on him.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think I think the label kind of fits until he wins. I hate to say it, but there's some of these guys that once they get there within sniffing range of a win, they step up their game and they take their swings and try to close it. And Finau just doesn't really seem to be that guy. And it's not like he's on Sunday just missing. He missed by 4 shots today.
So that's where because there's been a couple playoff losses that he's had.
That's true.
To Webb and to Xander. That those ones, it felt like he got beat by someone that just played better.
I mean,
he
two guys that I think are.
But the problem is he's around the lead. Those are just ones where he was in the lead. But he's one of these guys that he needs to be the one charging every once in a while. If it just doesn't feel like whenever I think of him charging, it's like Friday morning or posting getting out of the gates early. It never really feels like he's charging up the leaderboard to put pressure on someone late in tournaments.
To me, it almost feels like he needs to get a win by 5 or 6 and really just run away from a tournament, get some confidence back, and then you'll win that one where you need to birdie 18, because I think there is a little bit of that, especially on the greens. Just he missed 2 putts within 4 feet, I think, 2 birdie putts.
And that's what I was going to say is especially on the greens, it feels like some guys, they're willing to go down swinging on the greens. They're willing to try to make putts and run them by. Whereas I don't know. I think this is just my perception of it, but it feels like it's just kind of sometimes he's trying to be too cute, and then they end up lagging up there on putts that you really just need to give those things a chance and hammer them in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my whole thing about taking Finau as my boy this year is because I wanted him. I thought he was going to take the next step and get himself into the winner's circle, and then maybe more wins would follow, and he'd kind of go from the guy who's the perennial top 10 guy to a guy who's winning. Maybe not week in, week out, but he's winning. And I was hoping he could get a few wins this year, and unfortunately, it's kind of been more of the same. So
it's early. It's
really early, and hopefully, he's playing good golf obviously
that's the thing. He's still
to get in these positions. So
a 4th or a top 5 or wherever he finished up, it's still an amazing 4 rounds of golf, all under 68.
His high round is a 68 on the week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It seems it's a story that will continue until he gets.
But unfortunately, it's also golf. Golf is written with wins. It's not. It's not one of these things where you get a lot of good finishes and then at the end of the year you're the top one. You need to go out there and you need to get wins for when you're looking back on these, and also the way the payout structure is that these guys are compensated to win. They're not. Kisner disagrees.
I think I'm pretty sure Finau's doing okay.
Well, no, even though they're doing okay, the difference between a win and a top 5, it's significant. Trust me, I got a tied for 5th here in my one and done, and the money falls off quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the pack of 4. Sorry, Craig, is that on Finau? Or?
No, that's I was gonna say the same thing.
So the pack of 4, it was at the turn. Siwoo and Finau just finished. It was Siwoo, Cantlay, Finau, and Cam Davis was one back.
Yeah.
Like extremely talented Australian. What do you guys think of him kind of charging? Speaking of a guy who did not leave putts short, he seemed to get like ram those in.
Well, so he's someone we talk about a lot on our DFS shows because
yeah, I think we both have crushes on him a little bit.
We both have crushes on him, but I've been pumping the brakes on him a bit just because, you know, he had that ugly weekend in Houston, and then it just feels he's one of these guys that it's felt like for quite a few tournaments in a row he's had that one round or that 1-9 that's really kept him from, you know, actually competing in the tournament. But he'll always go out there and it seems like he'll always post a crazy round or a crazy stretch of holes. And so I think, to me, like, yeah, he had a top 10. I forget where it was, maybe Sanderson.
Yeah,
one of those fall tournaments, but the best results on the PGA Tour. And you know, I think we're seeing someone who is knocking on the door of that first win.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if a win came this year for Cam Davis.
Yeah, I honestly I haven't had too much exposure to him from what I saw this week. I mean, obviously he's very, very talented.
His ball striking is just unreal.
Yeah, he seems quite animated, which I know has has been an observation people have made in the past. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. How old is he?
He's
24, I think.
Yeah, under 25, I want to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's one of these guys. He's obviously got the talent. He's knocking on the door already. So
he's like next gen Adam Scott to me. Tall,
maybe
handsome, and a swing that I would. The swing I would do a lot of things to have.
I don't know if the eyes are quite as dreamy, but
Sungjae Im was kind of our outright leader after Saturday or on Saturday.
And for a while, it looked like you might run away with this thing.
And I was kind of checking my DFS line. I was like, oh man, I only have like 15% Sungjae. Like, what was I thinking? I love Sungjae. He got faded and just was never kind of seen again. And I think I had a decent Sunday.
Yeah, 73 Saturday, 69 Sunday. So faded on the weekend a little bit, but
he had that I want to say it was the 9th hole where he drove it in the water, dropped it in the hazard or like in the bunker, tried to take a hybrid that he wasn't going to get to the green anyways, and just flared it out into the water. And Trevor Immelman on the broadcast was pretty critical, and his caddy was trying to talk him out of it at the time. And it was one of those ones where, what is he, 21 years old? It was a little bit of, I think that youth and inexperience showing, because it's a risk reward where the reward is not worth it, and the risk came to play.
Speaking of that, doubling back for a second, how about Siwoo's driver off the deck today? How many caddies would have pulled him back and been like, whoa, you have the lead right now, Siwoo. Like, we're not going driver off the deck.
And there was trouble left, right?
I think it was on 16. I think it was trouble left.
Trouble everywhere on 16, right?
No, it was the par 5 earlier.
Oh,
it was the one where, because right afterwards Finau hit in the water, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He was 288 away.
It was the one on 16 was when he had the long wait, and then Homa put it over the back.
Right, and I think he pulled back to a 5 maybe, or...
Yeah, I don't know what he was planning to hit, but he then hit the shorter club, and that bounce, that thing could have kicked left. I feel like watching throughout the week, we saw quite a few of those take that first bounce and fall into that deep bunker.
Yeah, and that 20-foot bunker.
Yeah,
it's right off the cliff.
I was watching the end of that with my wife here, and I think was it Cam Davis who went down there?
Yeah, he was in there.
And I was like, yeah, that's, if I hit it down there, I'd probably just pick up my ball and take an X, and that would be that hole for me. And
I'd take 2 swipes with my 16 and be like, you guys are already done. Hey, on the green, I'll see you on 17.
Oh, you guys are crazy. I'd just get it up and down.
No problem, eh? We take a peek and Kevin is throwing it up.
Yeah. I never said how I'd get it up and down.
So Abe Answer I brought up, but yeah, good tournament. Like, again, he's another one who doesn't have a win on the PGA Tour, and really it was just that Saturday that held him back.
Yeah.
Again, another guy, I feel like I'm saying this about a lot of guys, but it feels like one's coming.
He is playing really well. The trouble I think with him is that I don't think he's one of these guys that can go and win on any course. I mean, it's not like he's super short, but I think he's one of these people who is going to get his win on one of these courses like this, where you don't just need to overpower it.
Yeah.
And
more of a second shot golf course.
Yeah, and I think he's a second shot player.
Yeah.
But yeah, last one, or one of the last ones we got to address here, Max Homa. Kevin, I know it hurts because you had a nice outright on him, and
yeah, I was going to touch on that a little later. But
let's leave it then. If you want to,
I mean, I honestly, I just feel disappointed for him. Obviously, he was looking for something different from today, and I hope that this does, that he learns from this and it just makes him a better player moving forward, because it's just a disappointing day for him.
Yeah.
He seems like a really good guy. You hate to see it happen.
Yeah, I think we're Max Homa's fans, and so you hate to see it for the time that he actually gets to be on the broadcast here, and
it is kind of painful when they're running out of holes and they need to show everyone in the final groups, and you know that one guy is having the bad day, and you can tell like they're just struggling. They're trying to scramble, and they miss their par putt, and they like dejectedly like just tap in their bogey. And
although I feel like they make like, I think that it would be better if they normalized that a bit, because the way they'll stop showing, like, it felt like for maybe the last 2 or 3 holes that the leaders were playing, they essentially were trying to fill airtime with like a bunch of, like, I don't know how many times I saw the replay of Siwoo cheering after making his putt on 17, but like, and meanwhile we're not watching the drives of Finau or Homa on 18, right. Or I mean I think we saw Homa's second shot, but like I think that's the perfect time. Like they try to pump up the FedEx Cup thing all the time, and like I think that's the perfect time to emphasize like finishing positions. And they did mention it briefly when Homa was going to make his chip on 18, but like, and this is where Kevin and I have gotten into F1 over the past COVID times, and they do such a good job of making the battle for 8 and 9 is as intense as the battle for who's going to win the race. And I think that's
probably
one of the
more
places
intense, really.
More intense oftentimes. And that's one of the places that golf and golf broadcasting just really fails in. Yeah. Like, there is tons of drama for all of these guys throughout the entirety of the tournament, but they just don't do a good job of presenting
the drama.
That.
The best drama isn't always for the win. Like. There's a lot of other storylines taking place that they kind of just gloss over or don't touch on at all. So there's definitely opportunities for them to change that, and hopefully with the new contract that's coming up, the new broadcasting contract.
I mean, the other weird thing with golf as a broadcast sport in general is just by the nature of it, it is a highlight reel. While every other sport, you're seeing kind of the full game or the full match or everything. But with golf, they have this field of 140 players, and they're showing either the best players in featured groups or the best shots or the leaders or the guys playing the best,
But at the same time, I think, so say, with like the exemption thing or the FedEx Cup thing or even cuts, like I think about NFL Red Zone. They'll cut to, if we're talking about highlight reels, they'll cut to like here's so-and-so on the 4-yard line. But they'll be like, here's the 2 big plays that got them to this point. So like, right. Oftentimes on golf broadcasts, you'll be like, like he has this putt to get this exemption into next week, or to have, exemptions into future tournaments or something. But like, okay, sweet, this putt, but like maybe show me 4 good shots he's hit today, so I don't see him miss this putt and think this guy sucks at golf, when really he's been grinding out there all day, Is
that what you think generally when you see PGA Tour players miss putts?
Like, this guy just missed an 8-footer, what a bum, but there is other golf that we can see from that, not just the one putt and the one sentence you've given us.
I mean, the other thing too is like, buy Data Golf's like cut line projections on Friday, put it on your broadcast. They're like, hey, it's a 40% chance it's actually going to move to -5. So he actually needs to go for an eagle here on his last hole rather than a birdie. But if
although I did notice this week that they actually did project out from where it was
one
that we
spot,
expected.
right?
Yeah. Which, hey, they're making baby steps,
baby steps. Okay, before we move on, anyone else on the leaderboard we want to talk about?
I don't think there's anybody that we won't touch on later.
No, I want to get one more here. Gary Woodland, he finished tied for 18th. Tied for 16th. It ended up here. I was just reading about him. So he's been dealing with a hip injury. First round first tournament he's played without pain in almost a year, not a year. He elected to not have surgery or take time off to rest. But then from December, I think early December was the last time he played, somewhere around there, and had been on a rehab regime. And it's the first time, I think he said he walked 18 holes this week. And so he just said it was just felt great physically. So, he's someone we had mentioned on our potential 2021 bounce back candidates. And I just think he's a golfer that I like to watch. I like his game. I think he's an entertaining guy. So I think it's also, you always cheer for these guys to be able to go out there and do their best and not be injured. So hopefully the hip holds up and he's able to continue to practice and make the progress.
Yeah. Really nice to see. I easy guy to cheer for, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah. He I hit him at 80-1 for the US Open that year, so always been a fan.
They always hold a soft spot in your heart after that.
You dirty dog, you. I didn't know about that one.
Oh yeah.
Wow. All right, time to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
3 stars of the week. My 3rd star is Patrick Cantlay. Almost got it done. If he would have got Kevin's 59, he would have, had a place in the Hall of Fame with that scorecard. I don't know. It would have been something kind of magical, but he didn't. He got the course record 61. One interesting fact that I did hear at one point on the broadcast, I want to say around 16, 17, 18, that he had made 22 one putts in his last 31 holes.
Wow.
Just an absurd percentage. As you kind of, we're talking about before, Kevin, it's crazy. His putter.
Yeah. And he left a few out there.
I
only say that because he, the way he was making them, it looked like he was going to make them all.
Come on, Patty. Get it done in Torrey Pines, maybe. All right, second star.
I was looking up his strokes gained for both Saturday and Sunday at one point today, and it's just dark green all the way across. He just lit it up the last couple days.
The best we've seen in many, many, many tournaments, probably.
Yeah.
Second star, going across to the Middle East, Tyrrell Hatton. Guys, 14 months. If we go back 14 months, he's had 4 worldwide wins. He's had 3 of them Rolex, so the Turkish Airlines Open. He came over, won the Arnold Palmer Invitational, went back, BMW PGA Championship, another Rolex Series, and then the Abu Dhabi HSBC, outlasted Rory, or kind of surged past Rory a little bit. And took home his
I wouldn't even say outlasted, because I think if they were playing longer, I think you just would have continued to outlast him.
Yeah. A very, very hard broadcast for us to reach on the West Coast here in North America, but another guy I think is right up here in the who we like to cheer for.
Yeah, and we're gonna see him move up. We were talking about him moving into the top 10. I think he could potentially break the top 5 after this win. Another thing I think I saw was that this ties him with Rahm for the most Rolex Series wins ever.
Wow.
So, just over the last, 3 years, he's just exploded onto the scene. And
completely. And big events, too. He's not just picking up these little events.
Yeah,
and then also, probably starting the funniest golf video I've seen in years, the Angry Golfers. Did you guys watch that?
I didn't see that one.
I started to watch it, but I couldn't put sound on because it was just the time of day it was. So I haven't actually watched the full thing yet. But
guys, it is good.
It looks good. I was watching it with captions on the bottom, and I was like, no, I need to watch this with
all our listeners, head over to YouTube, go to our channel, subscribe, then go over to the European Tour channel. Well, they put out some of the best content. Weekly, they have this kind of like alternate club or like some kind of...
It is unreal how much better than PGA Tour content the European Tour
Their content's really good. It's really entertaining.
And I mean, these guys, Stenson, Poulter, Pepperell, Eddie Pepperell was there. Thomas Peters had a little cameo. Matt Wallace, they are like good kind of deadpan actors. Guys, check it out. It's good.
Will do.
Okay, first star, obviously Siwoo Kim. Obviously he was my pick. One and done. Blah blah blah. Adam nailed it. Okay, let's move on. So this is a stat I got on Twitter. I believe his name is Justin Ray. I think he's with the PGA Tour. He said over the past 40 years, these are the international players who have won 3 PGA Tour wins before their 26th birthday. So 25 or younger over the past 40 years. Here's the list. Rory, Sergio, Hideki, Jon Rahm, Adam Scott, Siwoo Kim.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, international players? Or
international players who've come over to the PGA and got 3 wins, 25 or younger. That is a pretty stellar list.
I suspect there's someone at least that will be added to that.
Are you talking about Sungjae? Like, come on.
No, I was going to say Victor Hovland.
Well, listen,
because he's at 2 now, right?
Craig's here trying to shoehorn a Victor Hovland take in again. Like, let's stick with Siwoo for a second. They said multiple times on the broadcast. So he's 25. This is his 7th year on the PGA Tour.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And he 3 wins already. I mean, he's 25. Like, the guy's got his whole career in front of him still, really. So,
and exemptions up. I think players gives you 5 years. So he's. He'll have his card for.
Wins help.
Yeah.
So, really, like, sky's the limit for him at this point. The way he strikes the ball, and his fearless mentality, like, he could start notching him up pretty quick.
Yeah, I was actually doing some research on this because, and I think Siwoo Kim's another good example, but I think that, the American players seem to be taking the college route. And, with Akshay Bhatia deciding to go pro instead, it has challenged that a bit. But I think there's so many of these international players that they're spending those years that these American players are spending in college learning how to win at the pro level.
Yeah,
and
I
think there's a lot of arguments you can make in golf.
Maybe, but it also, it seemed to do Colin Morikawa pretty fine to go.
Well, and that's the thing. You can find examples on both sides of that. I think. But yeah,
I do agree though. I think that list will get quite a bit longer, almost pretty quickly, just because players are getting better younger.
Yeah,
almost. Yeah. I think there's going to be more and more people who are not. Maybe they'll go to college, but maybe more like the Jordan Spieth. Matt Wolff, where they're going to turn pro after a year or a couple of years.
Yeah, and just rack up wins.
Yeah, but way to go. Who deserves more congratulations here, Adam or Siwoo? Either way, congratulations, guys. It's really a first star week. Yeah. You might as well say first star like Siwoo / Adam.
Guys.
So Adam, I guess the thing, last time you nailed a pick, it was your sleeper with Carlos Ortiz. Did you take your pick in any outright this time? Or?
Okay, how about we move on? Let's move on to our DFS pick segment. First off, let's go with our pick sheet. I posted this on Twitter.